Ave Maria, gratia plena.
Hello, Father Mark Wagner speaking to my beloved parishioners here from inside of Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary Parish in Stockton. God bless all of you. We are in the month of May, and today is Saturday, so I wanted to speak and continue to speak about the Blessed Virgin Mary, and especially the apparitions of Fatima, since Wednesday is May 13th, the Feast of Our Lady of Fatima. So I've been speaking about the apparitions each day. I've already spoken about the three apparitions of the angel of Portugal. The guardian angel of Portugal appeared to the three children of Fatima in 1916. And so now it's time to begin to focus on those apparitions of Our Lady, which were very different. The children were struck by the peaceful beauty of their Heavenly Mother, who was not like the awesome divine presence of an angel. Rather, it was a familiar human presence, the Mother of God and their mother. They really felt enraptured by her beauty. It was May 13th, 1917, when Mary appeared for the first time. It was a Sunday. It was the Sunday before the Ascension during the Easter season. And it was also at that time the Feast of Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament, which is very significant because we know eventually Our Lady asked that a church be built on that spot so that the Mass could be celebrated. But when Mary appeared, the children had just finished saying their rosary. We know that the angel had prepared them and taught them to pray. The angel, in fact, said, "What are you doing? Pray, pray very much," and taught them certain prayers. And the children were getting better at praying, but sometimes they did have the habit of saying an abbreviated rosary. They would just say the first two words of each of the prayers. They'd just say, "Our Father, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary," that way, so that they could get it over with and then play. Well, in any case, the children had finished their rosary and they were playing. They would play with stones, kind of like jacks, a little game that they would play. And that is when suddenly they saw a flash of light. There was lots of light in the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima. They thought it was lightning, even though the sky was clear. They started to gather their sheep to go find a cave or some sheltered place. Then they saw another flash of light. And suddenly, with the second flash of light, they looked up and they saw, just above a very small oak tree called a holm oak tree. It was a young tree, a sapling tree, and they saw Our Lady there standing. And the Blessed Virgin Mary was all alight. She was illuminated by a heavenly light. The children said later that she looked like a crystal glass full of pure water with light, the sunlight shining through it. It was almost translucent, that she was full of light as she appeared to them, sparkling like the sun. And the children were amazed and struck by the beauty. They were enraptured, looking at her face, particularly her features. And Our Lady spoke first. She said, "Do not be afraid. I will do you no harm." Eventually, Lucia had the courage to begin to speak. She said, "Where are you from?" "I am from heaven," Mary answered. And Lucia then asked, "What do you want of us?" "I came to ask you to come here on the 13th day of each month for 6 months at this time. And then I will tell you who I am and what I want. And afterwards, I will return here a 7th time." Lucia began to feel more comfortable, and then it occurred to her to ask, "Will I go to heaven?" "Yes, you will." "And Jacinta?" Lucia asked. "She also." "And Francisco? Will he go to heaven too?" And Mary responded, "Yes, but first he must say many rosaries." It strikes me a little funny that poor Francisco was going to have to say more rosaries in order to be assured of going to heaven. Maybe it has something to do with that old poem, you know, that little girls are sugar and spice and everything nice, and little boys are made of snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. But obviously, if men or boys are not prayerful, it will take some prayer and meditation. The Rosary, a way of meditating on the mysteries of the life of Jesus and Mary. Then Lucia asked about some young girls who had recently died in their village, and Our Lady said that one of them was already in heaven, but the other one would be in purgatory until the end of the world. So obviously, the theme of this apparition of Our Lady of Fatima was this urgency that we prepare ourselves for the joys and the glory of heaven. And so Our Lady asked the children then, would you like to offer yourselves to God to accept all the sufferings which He may send you in reparation for the countless sins by which He is offended, and in supplication for the conversion of sinners? And Lucia answered for all three of them. She said, yes, we will. And Our Lady nodded in approval and said, then you will have much to suffer, but the grace of God will be your comfort. And then Our Lady showed that it wasn't just words. She actually provided for them the presence of God. She opened her hands, as she did several times during the apparitions, and light came from the Blessed Mother's hands and enveloped the children. The children felt overwhelmed with this intense stream of light that came from Our Lady's hands, and they felt lost in God. God's light came from Our Lady. And suddenly the children felt inspired to prostrate themselves, to lay down on the ground, and they prayed this prayer together. O most holy Trinity, I adore you. My God, I love you in the most blessed sacrament. Our Lady waited for them to finish that prayer, and then she asked them to say the Rosary every day. And then she went back up into heaven on a cloud of light, gliding up into the eastern sky. So there you have the story of the first apparition of Our Lady of Fatima. And we'll hear more about the message, the main messages of Our Lady of Fatima, but obviously you have these requests of Our Lady that the children offer themselves to God. And we know that all of us are a priestly people. We can offer sacrifice of prayer and penance to God. We can help save people, save the world, bring salvation to souls and to sinners. And she also spoke of accepting all the sufferings that might come to them and offering those. She said to do this in reparation for the offenses by which God is offended, and also to pray for sinners in supplication for the conversion of sinners. So these are the main themes of Our Lady of Fatima, and I will just point out something to show the difference between the apparitions of the angels, the three apparitions the previous year to the angel of Fatima appeared to them, and the apparition of Our Lady. When Our Lady ascended to heaven, the children reacted differently. They were full of enthusiasm about talking about how beautiful Our Lady was. And when they went home, they couldn't wait to speak about it. The younger ones immediately told their parents, even though they had agreed not to say anything. They couldn't stop speaking. Whereas the angel, since the angel was something so completely other, the angel was full of this heavenly light that kind of caused them to feel overwhelmed. They couldn't speak for hours, and they did not have words to describe this thing which was completely foreign and different from anything they'd ever experienced before. But of course, Our Lady is one of us. We can see the difference, that Our Lady is our mother. and she inspires not fear, but confidence in the great love which caused her to appear at Fatima. Mary is a human person, a human being like us. She is a mother, and so the children certainly would have, been able to, describe to all of their, to everyone, the beauty of her eyes, of her voice, of her hair, her clothing, her garment. Our Lady is our mother, and she inspires not fear, but confidence in the great love which caused her to appear at Fatima.